Right now, as you watch this video, millions of barrels of oil are floating through a stretch of water so narrow you could almost see across it. Welcome to the Strait of Hormuz. At its narrowest point, it's barely 21 miles wide. Yet, a staggering 20% of the entire world's petroleum is forced through this tiny, vulnerable bottleneck every single day. It is the undisputed jugular vein of the global economy, and arguably the most dangerous stretch of water on Earth. Just one major conflict, one blocked channel, and global oil prices wouldn't just spike, they would explode. The global supply chain as we know it would collapse overnight. But, French, what if we could bypass it entirely? What if we could carve a brand new ocean through some of the most unforgiving desert and solid rock on the planet? This is the pitch for a $200 billion megaproject, a massive artificial canal slicing straight through the Arabian Peninsula. It sounds like absolute madness, but today we're going to figure out exactly how to build it. $200 billion. Let that number sink in. For context, you could build 10 Panama canals for that price. It is an astronomical amount of money for a single piece of infrastructure. So, why even consider it? The answer is simple. The cost of doing nothing is much, much worse. If the Strait of Hormuz were effectively blockaded for just a few months, the disruption to the global energy supply would be catastrophic. Oil prices wouldn't just double, they could easily triple. We are talking about trillions of dollars wiped from the global economy. Suddenly, a $200 billion insurance policy doesn't seem so crazy, does it? But to really understand this canal, you have to look at the geopolitical chessboard. Down here in the Persian Gulf, you have the world's energy titans, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, and Iraq. They have the oil. But they are trapped. To get their product to the rest of the world, their massive tankers have to sail directly past the northern shore of the strait, which is controlled by Iran. This canal is the ultimate escape route. It bypasses the chokepoint completely. For the Gulf states and for the global superpowers relying on their oil, this isn't just a waterway, it is an impenetrable shield of energy security. It takes the biggest geopolitical weapon in the Middle East and completely neutralizes it. And here is the masterstroke. This $200 billion mega ditch would actually pay for itself. Think about it. The Suez Canal pulls in roughly $9 billion a year in transit tolls. This new canal could easily charge a premium, because right now, shipping companies pay massive war risk insurance premiums just to enter the Persian Gulf. By sailing through our new, secure canal, those premiums vanish. Tankers save money, the builders make billions in tolls, and the global economy sleeps safely at night. Economically, it is a no-brainer. There is just one massive, mountainous 50 degrees Celsius problem standing in our way. The engineering is, supposedly, impossible. If you look at the Suez Canal, it was essentially a straight ditch dug through flat sand. The Panama Canal had the luxury of flooding a valley to create a massive artificial lake. But our route? It runs straight into a literal wall of solid rock, the Hajar Mountains. To get supertankers through here, you can't just dig. You have to blast, crush, and remove billions of cubic meters of solid rock. We are talking about an excavation effort that makes the Panama Canal look like a backyard sandbox. The amount of earth moved would be the greatest geological event caused by humans in history. Let's say we somehow blast our way through the mountains. Now we face a completely different enemy, the Arabian sun. Temperatures out here regularly hit 50 degrees Celsius. That's 122 degrees Fahrenheit. A massive open-air canal in the middle of this desert would act like a gargantuan frying pan. Millions of cubic meters of seawater would evaporate into thin air every single day. Just maintaining the water level so massive ships don't run aground would require a constant, colossal pumping operation from both oceans. And then comes the sand. The desert isn't static, it is an ocean of moving dunes. A single severe sandstorm could dump thousands of tons of sand directly into our brand new canal. To keep the waterway navigable, you would need gigantic retaining walls stretching for hundreds of miles, and a relentless armada of automated dredging ships working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. If they stop, the desert reclaimed the canal in weeks. But the most catastrophic engineering failure wouldn't happen on the surface. It would happen deep underground. The Arabian Peninsula relies heavily on precious subterranean aquifers for freshwater. If saltwater from our mega canal leaks through the porous desert rock and breaches those aquifers, it would irreversibly poison the region's drinking water and destroy the subterranean ecosystem. To stop this, engineers would have to line the entire bottom of a multi-hundred-mile canal with specialized concrete and hyper-advanced biopolymer membranes, completely waterproofing a desert. Mountains of rock, boiling heat, relentless sand, and the threat of ecological disaster. The challenges are terrifying. So, how exactly do we build it, step by step? Here is the blueprint. You don't just start digging a $200 billion trench. Phase 1 is entirely digital. For the first 3 years, an armada of satellites and AI-driven geological drones would scan every inch of the Arabian Peninsula. They are looking for the path of least resistance, dodging deep tectonic fault lines, avoiding the highest mountain peaks, and calculating the exact volume of rock that needs to be moved. Once the supercomputers lock in the optimal route, the real work begins, and it starts with the loudest man-made sounds on Earth. Welcome to Phase 2, the brute force phase. To carve a canyon deep enough for supertankers, engineering crews would deploy explosive charges on a scale never before seen outside of warfare. Millions of tons of solid mountain rock are vaporized every week. Following the blasts, an army of the world's largest excavators and autonomous dump trucks move in. They would operate in shifts 24/7 for over half a decade. By the time they finish, they will have moved enough earth to build the Great Pyramid of Giza, 100 times over. But remember our ecological nightmare? To protect the region's groundwater, engineers must now waterproof the desert. Fleets of specialized machines would line the entire hundreds of miles long canal bed with hyper-advanced biopolymer membranes and reinforced concrete. It's essentially building the world's longest bathtub. At the same time, at both ends of the canal, titanic steel gates are assembled. These megalocks, making the ones at the Panama Canal look like toys, are built to control the flow of the ocean, manage the elevation changes, and completely seal off the canal during massive sandstorms. Finally, after 15 years of relentless labor, billions of man-hours, and $200 billion spent, it is time. The engineers hit the button. The colossal sea gates open. Millions of gallons of seawater from the Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf rush in, meeting in the middle of the desert. The channel is flooded, the pumps are activated, and the very first supertanker sounds its horn, safely bypassing the most dangerous chokepoint on Earth. The impossible is now a reality. But is it a reality we will actually ever see? So, there you have it. The blueprint for a $200 billion megatrench. It is, without a doubt, an engineering nightmare. But as tunneling technology advances and AI-driven automation becomes cheaper, the impossible is slowly becoming just incredibly expensive. And when you weigh that cost against the very real threat of global economic collapse, geopolitics might just force this megaproject into existence. But before we start digging, there is one final, massive plot twist. Timeline. A project of this scale would take at least 15 to 20 years to complete. By the time the sea gates finally open in the 2040s, the world might look entirely different. Imagine spending $200 billion to build the ultimate highway for oil. Just as the entire planet finishes transitioning to renewable energy and electric vehicles. Would this canal be the savior of the global economy, or the most expensive stranded asset in human history? That is the $200 billion question. What do you think? Should the world build this impossible canal, or should we invest that $200 billion into green energy instead? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the impossible, hit that like button and subscribe for more mega projects. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.